then wanasema that's a demand zone. Kama ni huku juu wanatafuta place kai, anasema that's a supply zone. So if you are doing it like that, most probably you are doing it the wrong way. You are doing it the wrong way. So supply ama demand zones zinafaa kuwa zones of consolidations. So any zone you see like a genuine consolidation, that might be a supply ama demand zone. So for example, anywhere you see a consolidation, like a very nice consolidation, you inakuanga considered like a either demand ama supply, such consolidations like this. So the markets tends to come back and revisit those zones, obviously. You see, for consolidations, like consolidations, the longer the consolidation took, the most they had a high probability of market revisiting that zone. So the higher the time frame, ukitumia a higher time frame, the higher the probability of market revisiting that zone. Anyway, so let's see how the supply and demand forms. So something I want you to know is supply who form above the price. So it's above the price. And demand who form below the price. Let's use something like CHF JPY. So supply who form above the price, demand inakuwa below the price. So supply zone, it's like a consolidation above the price. Demand zone is like consolidation below the price. You see. So for example, before doing a chart, let's just do the theory part. Now, you will see a consolidation happening like this. Utaona market key behave with such consolidation. Let me make this line white. Namweza kuona. And I make it a little bit bigger for you. Yeah, exactly like that. Let's do it again. So you'll see this line behaving like this. So you'll see market forming a consolidation like this. Basically, consolidation akwanga market kiana sideways like this. Sio lazima necessarily sio lazima ikue like inaenda straight sideways. Inaweza consolidation sio lazima ikuwe smart, inaweza kuwa kitu kama hii. So you'll see a consolidation, then ndo ikue demand zone. I want us to start let's start with supply zone. Ndo ikue supply zone, lazima price ikue ilienda below like that. So the reason why this is a supply zone, it's because the consolidation was left above the price. So consolidation iko juu ya price. So you can see someone is calling me right now. A minute, guys. So yeah, as I was saying, as long as consolidation imeformua above the price, that's a supply zone. Now, we have two scenarios here. Obviously, hakuna venye market itaanza na consolidation. So either lazima upate either market ilitokea side ya chini hivi ama market ilitokea side ya juu hivyo. So we can start with a scenario number 1 yenye market ilitokea side ya chini like that. So market came all the way from down. So came away from down, consolidated, then ikaenda nini chini. Now acha pia inibadilishe color, let me see. Yeah, tatumia hiyo. So these are supply zone. It's supply because consolidation iko above the price. Now the first thing you do is to mark your consolidation zone with a rectangle, the whole consolidation zone including the wicks. So just don't mark it like this. Usimark tu hivi, mark everything including the wicks huku hivi juu. So you just mark everything, the whole consolidation zone like that. So don't leave anything behind. So you just mark it like that. Then you extend your rectangle like that. So now, after marking your whole consolidation zone, I want you to label your supply zone. So obviously, an aggressive upward movement of the price in nini, a rally. So you're going to mark that with a capital R. So we are going to mark that with a capital R. So rally there, rally. Let me make that white. So that's a rally. So obviously tunajuanga when the price is going sideways, this one is called consolidation. So just mark that with a capital C. So marking it inafanyanga trading hata iko a little bit exciting, interesting. So that's a consolidation zone. So I'm gonna mark it with a C. Then sudden downward movement of a price inaitangwa nini? Drop. So we are going to mark that with a D. So just label that with a capital D. Like that. Capital D. So ukiulizwa what kind of a supply zone is this, obviously utasema nini? RCD. So anytime nasikia mtu anakuambia I'm trading RCD, wewe jua na trade rally, consolidation, then drop. So rally tumesema it's the sudden upward movement for the price. Consolidation is obviously sideways, then drop is sudden downward movement of price. Na note, kwa supply na demand, lazima rally ikuwe strong, na lazima drop ilikuwa strong. So you don't want to see anything going pole. Want to see rally strong, consolidation, then drop strong, you see. Now, that's the first type of supply zone. So, what do we expect? So, what we do is, we wait for the market to come back at the consolidation zone. We have to wait for the market to come back at the consolidation zone like this. Then, after we test consolidation zone, up even though we take our sell positions now. So, we take our sell positions from here. Immediately, meguza your rectangle, you take your position. So usianze kusema oh, let me wait for what utaenda kuachwa. Tukifanya examples utaona venye watu huachwa. So you see, so on supply zone huwa tuna sell. So it's a supply because consolidation ilikuwa above the price. So it's what type of a supply zone? It's RCD. You see, so supply zone will look for sell positions. So that's the first type of supply zone. So let's go to the second type of supply zone. So obviously we are going to start with a consolidation. So let's start with a consolidation like this. So consolidation happened like that. Obviously ndio ikuwe supply, lazima price ilikuwa imedrop all the way down. Now, since ya kwanza tumefanya price kwa imetokea chini, ya pili hatuwezi fanya hivyo. So lazima price ilikuwa imetokea nini? Juu hivi. So price came from up, consolidated, then dropped down like that. So we've said sorry for that. So we've said the first thing ya kufanya ni kumark your consolidation zone with a rectangle. So hata ukipata weeks zingine zimetokea hivi like this, you find it being irregular hivyo, usimark tu atikale ka consolidation katikati. So just make sure you cover everything like this. So don't cover it, usicover hivi, usiache hivyo, hiyo itafanya uachwe na market. So just make sure you cover it mpaka hizo weeks za juu, then hizo weeks za chini like that. No matter how big it gets, we just cover it like that. Then obviously you can extend your rectangle sideways hivyo sasa. Now the third thing tumesema unafaa kufanya ni kulabel your supply ama your demand zone. So obviously hii ilianza na nini? A sudden drop, market kiana chini. Hii tumesema ndio inaitwa nini? Drop. So I'm gonna label that with a capital D. Label that with a capital D. Like that. Now for consolidation, tumesema we label that with a capital C. Like that. Then after consolidation, what happened? Price ilikuja ika drop tena. So we're going to label that with a capital D once again, like this. So ukisikia mtu akisema I'm trading DCD, wewe jua trade drop, consolidation, drop. So what is he waiting for? He just waiting for the price to come back at that consolidation zone. Then ndo achukue nini? Sell position like this. Nagoja tu price ikuja itest hapo hivyo, aingie sell positions. So you go in for sell positions hapa hivi. And if you miss the first one, don't wait for the second one. Most of the time supply inanga mara ya pili au nini. So if you miss this one, the first one ama the first one, don't wait for the second touch. Wewe enda to hustle supply na demand nyingine ama trade nini strategy nyingine. So I hope you get that. The first one was RCD, rally consolidation drop. The second one was drop consolidation, then drop, DCD. So you can see they are different. Why? Juu ya kwanza price ilitokea chini, ya pili price ilitokea juu. So consolidation lazima ibaki juu ndio ikuwe ni supply zone. As long as consolidation haijabaki juu, itakuwa demand zone. Let's go to demand zone. So for the demand zone, we are going to start once more with a consolidation like this. So a consolidation happened like that. Nani atatuambia hapa hivi kwa charts venye nafikiria demand zone itakuwa? For example, venye tumeona supply ni RCD na DCD. What do you think of demand zone? So supply zone tumeona consolidation na baki side ya juu. So demand zone consolidation lazima ibaki side ya chini. So what do you think guys? You can sema hapo hiyo kwa messages. Anyone? You can take a guess. Take a guess. Bora, you make sure your C iko below the price. Haya, so Pakirio amesema RCR. So rally, consolidation, rally. So let's see. So we already have the consolidation. So let's add R rally. There is a rally, then consolidation, and let's see R. And he's correct. So why is he correct? Juu consolidation imebaki wapi? Imebaki side ya chini. As long as consolidation iko side ya chini, that's a genuine demand zone. So first and foremost, sitaki kufanya hii consolidation ikuwe perfect juu nikifikiacha ikuwe perfect, watu wataenda kutafuta perfect consolidations. So want to ikae, nataka ikae regular hivyo. So first and all, you just mark your consolidation zone with a rectangle, everything. So don't leave it like this. Usiache hivyo. The reason why nakwambia usiache hivyo, you can see umeacha wicks zikiwa nje. You can see. So sana side ya juu no market inakuja kutest your zone, be sensitive with it. Kama ni supply zone side ya chini juu market ina test your zone side ya chini like that. So market like that. Then you can label the chart. So obviously walianza na rally. Na make sure lazima rally ilikuwa strong. Ukiona supply na demand lakini rally inakaa another form of a consolidation, that's not a genuine supplies ama demand zone. Then ikakuja nini? Consolidation. Tukamalizia na nini? Tukamalizia na rally ingine. So lazima both rally na drop zilikuwa strong. So usikuje kutafuta rally inakaa consolidation like that. I am. So huyu sasa anagoja nini? He's just waiting for the market to drop back to the consolidation zone. He test that zone like this, just like that kidogo tu, then aingie buy positions. So going for buy positions wapi? Here. So going for buy position here. See, I hope you get that. Haya. That's the first type of a demand zone. Acha nione kama kuna wapili amesema DCR. So for the DCR, let's see that one kama itakuwa genuine DCR. So let's start with D drop. Amesema itaanza na drop, then consolidation. So the longer the consolidation took, the your demand zone ama supply zone itakuwa genuine. Then R DCR. That's the DCR yenye amesema. So it's genuine. Why? Because consolidation ilikuwa side ya chini. So Jimmy is correct. Now once more, cover your consolidation zone with a rectangle. So anytime you see a consolidation kwa market, kitambo we used to kuona consolidations tunaboeka, tunasema hakuna opportunity nini. But sasa from now, anytime you see a consolidation from the market, we consider you've seen a very good supply and demand setup. So for this guy, this was the drop. Yana trade the day, then ana trade consolidation C like that, then R rally. Like that. He's trading DCR. So ukisikia mtu akisema ana trade DCR, wewe jua ni demand zone. Ukisikia mtu akisema ana trade RCR, jua ni demand zone. Ukisikia mtu akisema ana trade RCD, wewe jua ni supply. Ukisikia ni DCR, jua ni supply. So huyu anagoja nini? He's just waiting for the market to come back at that zone. It test your zone to ingia nini? Buy positions. Let me draw that. So anagoja tu market ifanye ku drop. Let me show you. So just waiting for the market to drop like this. So drop haikuangi strong hivyo, anagoja tu market drop, then aingia nini? Buy. Immediately market imefanya nini? Market imeguza hapo hiyo. So that is DCR. These are the only four types of nini. So demand zone ni two types, supply zone ni two types. So if you're trading the supply na demand ikiwa in form of support and resistance, ole wako. So by now ushaelewa kila kitu. So kama unapiga screenshot, piga screenshot hapo hiyo. So ya kwanza, it was a supply zone which was a RCD, then DCD. RCR, then DCR. So anytime umesikia hizo terms, wewe juanga mwenye anakuambia hizo terms ana trade nini? Either supply ama demand zones. Haya. So note, rules ni moja. Rule ni moja, ama tuseme rules ni mbili. lazima drop ikuwe strong, lazima rally ikuwe ilikuwa strong. Kama ni rally, lazima rally ikuwe ilikuwa strong. So usione kitu kama hii market inapanda hivi, then natengeneza consolidation, then ina drop hivi, then unaanza kusema these are supply zone ama demand zone. So make sure both rally and drop they are strong, or at least ionekane ilikuwa genuine supply demand zone. So obviously you supply zone inakuanga na a lot of sellers, that's why market li break out kaenda chini. Demand zone inakuanga na a lot of buyers, that's why market ki break out inaenda wapi? Inaenda side ya juu. So it's another form of what imbalance, no? So now let's go and check a few examples. So anywhere unaona consolidations, wewe chukua hiyo ikiwa like your friend. For example, this is the first consolidation tunaona hapa hivi. This is the consolidations. Tumesema the first thing unafaa notice, lazima rally a drop ikuwe strong. Cha kwanza tunaona rally was strong. This is the rally here. And the rally that followed it was strong. So the second thing tunafaa kufanya ni kuchukua rectangle, we mark the chart to mark hiyo kitu yote. Hapo kila mtu ame screenshot hizi vitu before ni delete. Yeah. So cha to mark sasa the consolidation zone. Na ikikuja ni ku mark consolidation zones, usikuje umark tu aka genuine consolidation zone like that. Unaona? So assume the guy ame mark consolidation zone yake hivi. Hivyo ndo tu ame mark. So but ameenda kulive nini? Ameenda kulive hizi weeks. Hii trade alienda kuimiss entirely yote. Unaona? Aliimiss yote. Why? Simply because hakucover hii week. It's part of the consolidation. But mtu mwenye alikava hiyo week, you can see, let me cover it. Mtu mwenye alikava hiyo week hakumiss your trade. You see? So alafu mjue supply na demand zinakuanga na tabia ingine fulani, inauzanga tu kama ime reverse. That's why nilikwambia if you say let me wait CG for what, unaona ilifanya nini? Uguza zime reverse immediately. So supply na demand strategy huwa ina punish sana sana watu wenye wanakuanga negligence, watu wenye who ignore to store need to instructions. So mtu mwenye alikava tu mpaka hapo hivyo and he missed the entire trade, you can see, and he missed the entire trade. So you have to cover each and every week kwa your demand zone, kwa your supply zone, kwa your what zone. You have to cover each and every week as long as it's part of the demand zone like that. No usiana kumiss. You can see iliguza kama imefanya nini? Kama imesonga. So it's that simple. So if you don't cover the weeks, utaumia tena. Haya. So I can see another consolidation here. We have another very big consolidation here. So usisahau kulabel your charts after kufanya nini. So you could have labeled your charts here. First of all, do you think these are demand zone ama it's a supply zone? Someone anasema hapo kwa in call messages. And if it's demand, tuambie ni RCR ama ni RCD ama ni R44. So what do you think? What zone is this? You can see. Daniel, RCR. So is it a demand ama supply zone? Diana Mboshe, demand zone RCR. So correct. That's correct. So it's demand zone. Why? Because it started with the rally. Now make sure you can see my rally is strong. So usiende kutafuta ka consolidation, ka rally consolidation. So that's a rally. We started with the rally. Then the market consolidated. So we are going to mark that with a C. Then after consolidation, what happened? Another rally. So that's a demand zone. Why? Because consolidation ilibaki side ya chini. All you had to do is to wait mpaka market ikiguza hapo hivyo, you go up with it. Na tu tunaona pia hii imefanya hapa hivi. So you can see market dropped. You can see the drop is aggressive, consolidated, then rallied like that. So what did you have to do? You had to come mark the whole consolidation, Sana sana side ya juu. We want to see the market testing side ya juu. Side ya chini hatuna interest sana nayo. Kama side ya juu kama market li break out side ya juu. So assume mtu mwenye alikuja akamaki consolidation yenye inakaa perfect. But akaacha hizi weeks. Akaacha hizi. Nini will happen? Ali missed the entire trade. You end up missing the entire trade. But mtu mwenye alikuja akamaki mpaka hizi weeks huku hivi. You can see mpaka hizi weeks huku hivyo juu. Hakumiss your trade. Hakumiss your trade. You can see. So this was a drop like this. Then consolidation, rally. Then the retest, go up. So once more, pia inikayo example tumefanya. This was a demand zone. Why? Because consolidation iliachwa nini? Side ya chini. So anytime you're marking supply and demand zones, be very strict. So usimark as consolidation yenye unaona ati ni perfect. Hizi weeks hazina haja. Hizo weeks ndo zitafanya umiss the entire setup. Hivyo ndo inakuanga. Hivyo ndo inakuanga. Supply na demand inakuanga that strict. Inakuanga that strict. Haya. Then sometimes utapata consolidations zingine zenye haziendi sideways like this. So consolidation haziendi sideways hivi. Utapata consolidations zingine zinaenda hivi. So hapa ndo nini huwa ina come to. There's another tool called ukikuja hapa hivi kwa yenye tunatoa rectangle, ndo utapata another tool called rotated rectangle. So hii tunitumianga kwa such consolidations. Ana consolidation kai. These are very 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 perfect consolidation. So tunazitumianga hapo. So we just take the rectangle, that rotated rectangle, na inakuanga ngumu kutumia. Kana kuanga very 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 hard to use. So kwanza kuirotate inakuanga ngumu sana. You have to know where to rotate, how it rotates, like that. And once more, usisahau kukava huku hivi chini. Don't forget, usisahau kukava huku hivi chini. Yeah. Juu chini ndo tuko interested sana nayo. Obviously these are supply zone. So let me I want to cover this consolidation zone correctly. Nataka kwanza ni cover ya chini, then ning'ang'ane na ya juu baadaye, like that. So nimecover ya chini na nataka kung'ang'ana ya juu. So ya chini you can see sijaacha weeks zozote. Huku hivi chini usiache any week. So we can see what happened. The market started with a drop, then consolidation, then what? Drop. So someone, hebu mtu atuambie hii ni supply ama demand zone, na kama ni supply ni RCD ama ni DCR ama ni what? So what do you think? So this what happened before. Mtu atuambia hapo hivyo kwa in-call messages. As you're saying, it's a supply mbona Hector amesema DCR, wengine wanasema DCD. So AC amesema ni DCD. It's a drop, consolidation, drop. Ani amesema DCR. Hector, DCR, drop, consolidation, rally. Hakuna rally. You can see, Hector, you can see it's a drop, then consolidation, then drop. So kama ni rally, hii market inaenda juu hivi. So anyway, so after that you have to wait for the market to retest that zone. Hakuna ngacha kugoja wewe sijui acha nigoje sijui nigoje nini. Ukianza kusema tabia kugoja goja, unaona wewe mtu mwenye aligoja venye aliachwa. Supply na demand zinakuwa very sensitive. Huwa inaguza kama drop immediately. Why? Unatakanga ku reward nini? Wewe mtu hao watu wamegoja hii consolidation yote. Sio simple kugoja mpaka hii consolidation iishe. Ugoje consolidation iishe, after imeisha unagoja market drop, after ime drop unagoja market rudi mpaka huko juu. It's not that simple. That's why supply and demand zinakuwa very very rewarding. Zinakuwa very rewarding. Most of the time zinakuwa. Actually unapata supply na demand ziko na like a win rate ka 70% kwenda juu. So zinakuwa very 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 rewarding. So be very 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 cautious with that. So any time you see a consolidation ama demand any type of a consolidation, wewe usipotee na usiseme leo kimeharibika. Wewe ona consolidation, chukua rectangle, cover your whole of the consolidations like that. Yote hivyo. Yote like that. Then wait for the market and don't leave weeks. Usiache weeks venye nimeacha. Kama ni consolidation, cover kutoka kwenye consolidation imeanza. That. So hii nimecover vibaya. Why? Juu nimeacha hizi weeks. Hizi weeks nimeziacha nje. You don't have to. Just cover mpaka those weeks. It won't cost you anything and it's very very simple like that. See. So this was a drop. You can see drop was strong. Make sure unaona hizi zote zinaonyesha drop is strong na pia rally yenye ina breakout ni strong. So this was a drop, consolidation, rally. Then kwanza ilikuja kuretest mara kadhaa, once and twice, then went up. But mtu mwenye alikosa cover the weeks, miss up the entire retest. Imagine mtu alicover hivyo. You can see alimiss kukuote just because alikosa kucover nini weeks. Supply and demand is that sensitive. It's very very sensitive and it's very rewarding. So cover weeks, utana kumiss all of supply and demand zone setup. We missed all of them. So hizo examples zote tumefanya, unaona haikuji na ingia ati huku. Mostly inafanya nini? Nakuja inaguza kama imefanya nini? Kama imesonga. So kama ukucover your nini? Kama ukucover your nini? Your zone, unaumia hivyo. Unaumia tu hivyo. So anytime you see a consolidation zone, so we assume, wow, this is good. So for example, this is also another consolidation zone. Ilianza na drop, a consolidation, then a rally. So all you had to cover the whole of the consolidation, the whole of it. So hakuna venye ungecover ati tu hivi. So pia hii ni consolidation here. This is also the part of consolidation. So you had to cover those weeks up there. So just cover them like that. Then you extend like that. And you see, ikiguza inafanya nini? Inaguza kama imesonga. Hakuna ati yo sijui nini. So that's what you are supposed to do. So that was what pair was this? This was CHF JPY, na mmeona venye kuna supply na demand zones mingi. So if you want to trade supply and demand zones, this is another one. So unaona muna venye kuna mingi. This is also a supply. This is a rally, then a rally. Meshak, ni nani? Kuna mtu alikuwa amekosea kwanza. Sijui kama ni Meshak. Meshak, what do you think? Is this a demand ama supply zone? And keep in mind, ilianza na rally, then a consolidation that took a lot of time, then a rally. Meshak, what do you think? So before Meshak atujibu, so you have to kuchukua a rectangle, you cover the whole of the consolidation zone. You cover the whole of the consolidation zone. Yote hivi. And wait for the market to come back at this zone. You place your buy position. Meshak, ama Meshak hayuko kwa class. Monica Ngendo, I can see your hand is up. So they have the time frame actually, and they have the reward. Ukipata supply and demand on kwa 4 hours time frame, trust me, you utakula tu vizuri. You'll eat like a king. You'll just eat like a king. Hizo zinakuanga very rewarding. Very rewarding. Ukipata the such like rally, consolidation, then drop, you utakula vizuri. Why am I saying so? So if you mark this consolidation zone here, so it's a 4 hours consolidation zone, then upime kutoka the moment market kuja ikaguza hiyo zone ika drop mpaka hapa hivi. Ukipima ili drop na how many pips, you will see how rewarding it is. From here to down here, ilishuka na how many pips? Good 266 pips. Now the best thing with supply and demand, umeona mostly ikiguza hakunanga ati kuconsolidate na ikikuja ikisha fill your supply ama demand zone, ina dropping like immediately. So that's the best thing with supply and demand. You don't have to wait. Well, yes, utagoja mpaka his consolidation iishe, drop ama irali, then kuje retest. But once imekuja kuretest, wewe na pesa mko pamoja. But needs a lot of patience. So it needs a lot of patience. If you want to trade supply and demand, you better be patient. Kasi hivyo uangukia upate ka supply and demand kenye kwa current price, kaya tumeona kwa current price, yeah, sahi tumeona ingine kwa current price. So by the way, hii yenye kwa current price, we can tell kama ni supply ama ni demand. Do you know why? This one. So let me delete everything now. Hii, already we have a consolidation. We already have a consolidation. Yeah. We already have a consolidation, but we can't tell if it's a supply ama if it's a demand. Why? Juu price already bado haija break. Juu once the price may break side ya juu, hizo zone yetu itakuwa nini? Demand zone. But in case price break out side ya chini badala ya juu, hizo zone yetu itakuwa nini? Supply zone. So you see, so huwezi jua kama itakuwa demand zone ama supply zone mpaka breakout happen. So wewe tu kama macho next week kujua kama ita breakout huku ama ita breakout huku. Bora make sure you've covered the weeks vizuri. You can see nimecover mpaka the weeks mpaka huku chini. So when there's an ongoing consolidation and haina breakout already, you can be sure kama hii ni supply zone ama ni demand zone mpaka breakout fine, mpaka breakout it happen. Yeah. What does a strong move mean in simple terms? Are 2 strong candles enough to call that a strong move? Yeah, basically, as long as the rally was strong, or you can see how it was strong, rally haikuwa hivi na hivi. So you want to see a strong, something strong like that. So bora strong move, like kitu ukiona pia utaona wow, this was a strong move. So kama ni kushuka, kama ni drop, isikuwa ati ilikuwa inashuka like this zone tunaona hapo hivyo. So kama ni drop ikuwe ni kudrop, kama ni rally ikuwe ina rally hivi. So that's the supply and demand. So the higher the time frame, the better. The lower the time frame, ponapo utakula vizuri. Let's check USD JPY. So I hope you guys note that. So momentum, yeah. We're talking about momentum as Onesmus amesema. So we're talking about momentum. This chart is very, 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 very dirty. Na USD JPY inakuanga na tabia sana, tabia mingi sana ya kuleta supply na demand za higher time frames. So uiangalie sana. Consolidation. So anytime you see a consolidation, that's your friend. Ukiona ka consolidation, that is your friend. Your friend. Na tumesema sio lazima consolidation ikuwe perfect. Sio lazima consolidation ikuwe perfect. Some consolidations zitakuja zikikai. Actually, this one was perfect. This one was perfect. So assume mtu mwenye hakucover weeks za juu. Mtu mwenye tu alisahau kucover weeks here. So alicover two body like this. Then hakucover weeks. Alimiss the entire setup just because he didn't cover easy weeks kadhaa. But mtu mwenye alikuja akaifanya professionally like that, you see. So na inaguza ka imeenda. Keep in mind this is a daily time frame. So mwenye alitrade these demand supply, demand zone, alipata how many pips before the next reversal? I bet hundreds of pips. Hundreds of pips from our entry. Na unaona inaguza ka ime reverse mpaka huko juu. Alipata 986 good pips. So that's how rewarding supply na demand zone inakuanga. GBP USD. Let's see whether GBP USD konazo. Is there an indicator like unfinished auction that can be used to identify the tap into a demand or supply? I've not yet figured that out, but nikifigure it out, I'll show you. Actually, I'm working on an indicator yenye itakuwa inatuambia saa yenye kuna consolidation. That's what I'm looking for currently. Ndo tuone venye itakuwa. Yani indicator yenye itakuwa ina spot consolidations kwa charts. Any consolidation na spot inakuwekea rectangle automatically. So I'm working on that. So we shall see. We shall see. This is a GBP USD. Consolidations are consolidations. This is the 30-minute time frame. I may test already. This one has already been tested. Actually, today. It happened today. This was a what? This was a rally, consolidation, then rally. So unaweka your rectangle, and market tested it today, and it's shooting up currently. So there's a lot of fish in the sea, naambianga watu. Sio lazima utrade nini. There's a lot of strategies in the sea. So just make sure una trade accordingly na venye inafaa. Cha tuone supply na demand za 1 minute za scalpers. See whether scalpers wako na chances za supply na demand. So I'll be looking for consolidations to 1 minute. So the higher the time frame ndo tumesema ndo kuna kuanga na high probability of it working perfectly. 1 minute hata mtu sijui kama mtu anaweza spot consolidations such here. Rally consolidation drop, retest drop. So from now on consolidation should be a friend. Wengine wakisema market ina consolidate, wewe unafaa kusema okay, let me just wait for a breakout. Rally consolidation, rally. So once more mtu mwenye hakumaki consolidation ya 1 minute vizuri, mtu mwenye alikuja akajimakisha tu hiyo zone hakukula. But mtu mwenye alimark mpaka hizo weeks za juu hapo hivyo ndo alikula peke yake. So you can extend it like that. And see once the market tapped, ilifanya nini? Ilishoot juu. So yeah guys, that's all about the supply and demand. Check GJ on a 4-hour time frame. Let's see GJ. Sasa for stop loss, Caleb, you can place your stop loss like 30 pips inside the rectangle. For TP, you can place. By the kuja ni supply na demand. As long as una spot supply na demand za kutoka 15 minutes kwenda juu, make sure una set TP ya 60 pips kwenda juu. Actually 70 pips kwenda juu. Tumesema it's very, very, very rewarding. So make sure una set stop loss and take profit kubwa. Kama unatumia 4 hours na daily time frame, make sure una set ni take profit ya 200 pips kwenda juu. Si set anything below that. Yeah. So this one has already been taken here. That one has already been taken. Let's see, acha tuone kama kunayo. Mwenye amesema tuone kwa GJ 4 hours time frame, I can see a consolidation. Oh, this one. Sijui kama anasema hii drop, then this consolidation, then rally. Yeah, most probably anasema hiyo. But here ikai consolidation. Here ikai consolidation. This is not like a consolidation. Wanna see a consolidation like this one. Consolidation inakaa hii. Like consolidation utaangalia pia kabisa one it's like a genuine consolidation, but this one can't be a consolidation, so that's a trend. But this one you can see price all consolidated vizuri, but this one no, it's a V. This one we have to examine consolidation, market na drop even, so that's not a consolidation. USD UG ni gani? USD what? Sharon, UG ni gani? I've never heard of that. Sharon. Ama ulikuwa unamaanisha JBPSD? UG. What is UG, Sharon?
Namaanisha euro, imejiandika vibaya.
Oh, Euro GBP.
Yeah.
Oh. Let's see. So make sure you spot your consolidations are vizuri. Euro GBP. So the only thing Sharon mi naweza ita consolidation hapa, it's this one here, this rally and this consolidation here. Juni 4 hours unaweza dhani consolidation haiku take long, but Juni 4 hours candlesticks like 6 candlesticks ama 7 candlesticks of 4 hours, don't underestimate them. Usizi underestimate. Ukikuja kwa lower time frames, hiyo ni siku mzima. Yeah, that's a whole day. So Sharon, ningecover this consolidation up there on the wicks like that. So I've already covered the wicks. So market bado ijaguza. So market kiguza that consolidation, I'll be looking for sell positions. So market has not yet tested that zone. So yeah. USD JPY 1 hour demand zone. Let's check USD JPY 1 hour. So hii zone ya Sharon, you can see that consolidation, but kwa 4 hours unaweza underestimate. So let's check USD JPY. Let's see. Is this a genuine consolidation? Let me call this a genuine consolidation. So you can see rally was there, but before that I can see another consolidation down here. So here chini tunaweza isema it's a genuine consolidation. So it was a drop, a market, then went up. So here chini genuinely I can call this on a consolidation. So Jimmy, first of all, mark here chini and make sure you cover the everything side ya juu. You wanna see market testing that zone. Juu, there's a high probability of the price dropping mpaka huko chini kwa Tokyo session. So there's high probability of that happening. Juu hii yako Jimmy, hii kama ulikuwa unasema hii haikai consolidation. It's like an uptrend. So it's like a highs, higher lows. So you can much consolidation. Ebu compare this with this one. So see, I hope ulikuwa unamaanisha hii. So there's a high probability of this happening after Tokyo, during Tokyo. Tunajua JPY pia zinakuwa active sana Tokyo. So there's high probability of it testing this zone na endelee na trend like this. So make sure umemark your zones vizuri hapa hivi. Chini sio that important. Do you want to see market test inside here? So instead of waiting, you can just weka your buy limits here. Badala kukaa tu ukingoja, unaweza weka your buy limits down there and wait for the results, Jimmy. The down one, there's a daily fair VG hapo. What's the probability of it will drop to the demand zone? Let me check our daily time frame. But I bet you sit on a consolidation for daily. Yeah, si iko tu sawa. Yeah, itakuja kama imefail fair value gap ndo idrop huko hivyo kwa demand zone. Yeah, there's a high probability of it itakuja ifail your fair value gap to drop kwa hiyo demand zone sasa. Yeah, so you might wanna do that. Then tutaona kesho, mtanikumbusha kesho kwa class ya kesho tuangalie venye USD JPY ili behave. So, any more questions regarding supply and demand? Brian.
Okay, I know you've been maybe doing this for a couple of years. Ni pairs gani mostly ziko na
Ziko na supply na demand.
eh,
So all JPY pairs zote zinakuwa na supply na demand.
so unaweza recommend all JPY pairs?
Yeah. But sana sana si chef JPY. Any more question? Daniel amesema kuna swali tuliulizwa kwa group. Hiyo swali nitaijibu kesho tukiendelea na nini. Sharon Aduma.
Niko tuna swali moja tu mimi, si hata ya supply, ni ya hii
Mhm.
sentiment. For
Mhm.
example, niko tuna
Mhm.
sentiment na ukiangalia ya, wacha tumie example ya euro, Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar,
Mhm.
ikiwa 11, for example,
Mhm.
iko 11% na hii ingine iko 88%.
Mhm.
How do you enter the market at that point? Entry
So
point.
just look for a point of interest.
Mhm.
Umesema ni euro?
Australian dollar versus New Zealand.
Au AUD and ZD.
Yeah.
So let's see AUD and NZD. So if watu wengi wamebuy, ataka inapanda unagojanga tu market fike kwa any resistance zone. So huenangi tu unaisell juu unapata tu watu wengi wamebuy. You have to wait for a point of interest. Unagoja price ifike either kwa support zone ama kwa resistance zone. So for your case here AUD and ZD, let me see kama nitaipata kwa sentiment. Naona where is it? AUD and ZD, AUD and ZD. I can see it on the sentiment. Where is it?
FX blue.
Ni ngapi?
88.9 na 11.1.
88 ni buyers ama ni sellers?
Bias, I think, ya blue.
So kama 88 ni buyers, ni kumaanisha ulikuwa unatafuta kutafuta nini? Sell positions, right?
Yeah.
Na sell positions ukikuja ni kutafuta, huingii tu kokote umepata market. Unatafuta point of interest. Unaona? So the first thing ungefanya, ungegoja market ikuja tu kwa hivi fair value gap. So sio ni point of interest. Watu wengi wamebuy, wewe ungetafuta sell positions mwanzo market ingefika kwa hiyo point of interest. Umeona?
Okay.
Yeah, so you look for a point of interest. So juu market kwa hapa hivi currently na watu wengi wamesell, wamebuy, unasema acha niende kusell bila any genuine thing ama bila any bila any reason. So you have to have a reason when ina support your sell. Unaona? So yeah. Is this thing really profitable? Let me see. Acha nione kutoka hapo mpaka hapa hivi chini. Oh yeah, it's good. That's a 49 pips. Sam Hanson.
Swali yangu ni about absorption. Jana nilikuwa naangalia immediately after class nilikuwa naangalia Bitcoin USD. Alafu iliform 3 bearish candles na ilikuwa na nini positive deltas.
Bearish candles with positive delta.
Lakini ikafika hapo nilikuwa na order block but ikaobey order block ikarudi juu. So like
order block ilikuwa na orders ngapi?
Niangalie.
So you have to be noting hizi vitu down ndo unajua the probability of market to kwa zone gani.
So si lazima
lazima unaweza pata orders ziko kwa absorption ni kidogo hata kuliko zenye ziko kwa order block. Unaweza pata order block na millions of orders but absorption ni 200k like that.
Okay.
So hapa tulisema the highest volume wins. Anything to do with order flow, the highest volume wins.
Sawa, asante.
Haya. Benson Geshane.
Niaje Pizzo?
Hai.
Kuna nilikuwa nimeona umepost kwa status, I think pia ilikuwa ni AUD/USD.
Yeah.
Sasa nilikuwa nauza kwa umetumia conferences gani?
Actually AUD/USD tulichukua jana. I'll share the conferences on the group.
Ati?
Yeah, I'll drop the confluences kwa group. Nitatuma confluences zote hapo hivyo kwa group.
Oh.
Yeah.
Asante.
Haya, so guys, there's no more question. Kesho I want us to cover the indicators. Juu currently when wanatumia commitment of traders hawajui kujua, hawajajua kuangalia kama market is overbought ama oversold. So kesho tutaangalia a few indicators bado they are part of volume ndo tuone venye itakuwa sasa. I can see another hand up. Brian Moredi.
Nilikuwa nauliza kama unaweza angalia card JPY maybe 4
Yeah?
hour. Card JPY 4 hour. Na venye na confuse kidogo. Possible unaweza angalia.
Kaji kwa 4 hours.
Unaona kwenye umeke hiyo line ya red. Na hiyo gap iko hapo. Consolidation inafaa kwanza wapi hapo?
Let's check whether these are good consolidation. Yeah, it's a genuine consolidation. But unfortunately for you, it has already been tested. Consolidation ilianza wapi? Is a drop. Consolidation yako ilianzia hapa sasa. Then market cap breakout juu. But sasa for you, it's already been tested. You can see this happened. So consolidation kama ilianza hapa hivyo. So side ya chini hatuko interested sana na the market I retest side ya chini. So I've only covered the easy tops za easy candles hapa. But ishakuwa tested already. So that one won't work for you.
Okay, na maybe mtu mwenye ako na small account. Don't you think maybe price ikirudi inaweza kosa maybe kusimamia kwa hiyo first point ikuja maybe mpaka katikati and maybe end up kwenda na account.
Ati?
Unauliza price ikiretest ndio sasa uingie maybe buys or sells. Na venye inaweza kuja mpaka katikati kwa hiyo rectangle.
Rarely, sana ukispot a good consolidation like this, rarely does the price kujanga huku katikati kwa rectangle. So kama ulispot hii consolidation kwa hivi, then weke your rectangle. Tuko interested sana na side ya chini. Hii consolidation yote weke rectangle mpaka hapa. You can see nimeweka mpaka hapa hivi juu. Hapa hivi ndio ile wiki ya chini ilifika sana. Then check hapa hivyo, then you extend it like this. You can see ungepata hii sell some few hours ago. So tafuta tu good consolidations one utakuwa na miss. Na mostly inakuwa rare sana ukipata ati market kuja kuretest hiyo hivi katikati. Mostly ni kuguza na kudrop.
Umesemaje kuhusu sorry kwa group?
Atakosa nini?
Kuhusu hiyo sorry nilikuwa nimeuliza kwa group.
Oh, hiyo tutaikava kesho. Haya. So I say no more questions. Can one use a volume to identify supply and demand zones? No. We're just looking for consolidations. Only consolidations. So you can't use a volumes to identify supply and demand zones. Unless tunaangalia kwa candlestick moja ya 4 hours ama ya daily. Nitaonyesha tukifika hapo hivyo. So yeah, guys, acheni tupatane kesho then tutaendelea na tomorrow's topics. Just make sure you practice supply and demand ndo usikuwa na miss such setup. Kama tungekuwa tumefanya supply and demand, I'm pretty sure kuna mtu angepata hii. Can say when the market ime drop vizuri. I'm pretty sure kuna mtu angepata that one. So market ime drop na how many pips? Over 112 pips after kuguza hiyo zone. Ukienda kwa 30 minutes ndo utakuja kuona this was a genuine consolidation here. So is it? Yeah, you can see kwa 30 minutes ndo utakuja kuona this was a genuine consolidation. So yeah, by now sasa kutoka sasa tutakuwa tuna miss search setups. Haya, Bill Oliech, nishaikuona kwa hii class kweli? Haya, Benson, do you have a question?
Niko na swali. Kuna consolidation ume-identify kwa Euro GBP. Mimi naangalia hapo, najaribu kuangalia sioni, sijui kwa nini.
Euro GBP. Tumeangalia Euro GBP. Oh, yenye Sharon alikuwa amesema. Let's check. Hey,
Una consider hadi hiyo ni imefanya nini juu?
everything. Tulikuwa tumeangalia kwa time frame gani? 4 hours. Acha tuone kama tulikuwa tumeangalia it's not 4 hours. 4 hours actually kuna liquidity. Hope guys mnakumbuka mpaka liquidity. What time frame was it? So let me see whether it was 1 hour. Yeah, it was 1 hour. So we can actually tunaweza anzia hapa hivi kwa hii rally for after the rally. Yeah. So juu hata tuko interested sana na juu, we are only interested na chini. Huko hivi chini low market tutakuja kuretest huko hivi chini. So that's why interested with that area. But bado market haijaguza. If you're looking for sell positions, tulia market fanya nini. Na uzuri wa Euro GBP, ukiangalia sentiment, 76% wako buys, 24% wako sales. So it's a very good idea to kuingilia sales immediately imeguza hizo ndio itakuwa point of interest for you. So yeah, at least tutakuwa na another confluence there. Haya, so tupatane kesho. Then we shall see. So anytime kuna swali, just drop your questions kwa group. Kikosa kujibiwa nitajibu. So anytime unaona mtu ameuliza swali na kosa kujibu, ni juu hiyo swali imejibiwa. So ikikosa kujibiwa mimi huwa najibu. So you guys have yourself a good night. Tupatane kesho 9 PM.